Hello and welcome back to Hobbies by Holly. Today I am sharing the full transformation of these Thomasville nightstands, and I have to say these were in almost perfect condition. Of course they did have a few smudges and needed to be cleaned, but as far as the bones, they were in perfect condition except for maybe one little nick on the back. So let me take you back to where it started. One morning early, I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace and I saw these listed and jumped right on it. Thomasville is a really quality American furniture brand, and I saw the dovetail drawers and I just knew they were worth picking up. So I got them home and started cleaning. I use Krud Kutter and also Dawn dish liquid and water. You always want to give it a thorough cleaning. Nothing adheres properly to a dirty surface, and this step sets you up for everything that comes after. I removed all the hardware from the drawers, and I knew I wasn't going to be keeping this original hardware, so I set it aside and hopefully I'm able to use it on a future furniture flip. My next step is moving into sanding, and I started with an 80 grit just to get a feel for what the top looked like, and I quickly realized that it was veneer, so you have to be very careful. When you're working with veneer, you definitely want to use a higher grit, possibly up to 220, because you just have to be so careful you don't bust through the veneer, which did happen for me on one small corner of this piece. I'll show you how I fixed it shortly. After using the orbital, I got out my sanding block and started sanding down all the edges with the 120 grit sandpaper. Next up was my detail mouse sander. This is great to get into those corners and edges that you just can't get to with an orbital sander. So that one nick I mentioned on the back needed some attention, and so I mixed up my Bondo wood filler and applied it to the back. The key is just to add it on there. In a situation like this, it's a little hard to mold it perfectly, but if you just kind of put a big glob and let it dry, and then you can sand it to match. Next up, it was time to prime. I'm using my Ben primer, and I've had this tinted gray at Lowe's, where that way it's easier, especially if you're painting in a lighter color. So once you paint, you're able to see the difference. I also put this in my spray gun, which makes it a little harder to clean, but at the end, as soon as I'm done, I run mineral spirits through it and spray it into a cardboard box, and that helps to clean it out. In between my two primer coats, I made sure to sand it down with 220 grit to make sure it was nice and smooth. And when I was first sanding, I actually did bust through a little corner of the veneer on the top. So I used Aqua Coat, which is a great wood grain filler. And then I also had the Bondo glaze and putty to use on one of the corners to touch up. After these dried, I did give it another sanding to make sure everything was smooth and ready for paint. For paint, I used Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane Trim Enamel in Agreeable Gray. I actually had some left over from a previous project I'd worked on, and I thought that would be perfect for these nightstands. Although this paint's a little more on the expensive side, it levels beautifully and you don't have to add a top coat at the end. So I paint with the drawers already in, and so that means afterwards I just keep these little screws in each of the hardware holes to pull them out and do any touch-ups that I may have missed. In the meantime, my hardware arrived. I went with champagne bronze that I got from Amazon. I love this color. I've used it on previous pieces and I knew it would look perfect with the Agreeable Gray. I knew I'd missed some spots with my spray gun on the bun legs, so once it was completely dry, I turned them upside down and did my touch-ups. And when it was time to stage, I noticed that there was some overspray on the drawers from the spray gun. So I got out my nail polish remover, which is acetone, and just lightly wiped it on the sides, and that did the trick. It removed all the paint residue. And here they are, Thomasville quality. Agreeable Gray, champagne bronze hardware. I paid $100 for these off of Facebook Marketplace, and I'll be listing them for $400. These were great pieces, solid construction with dovetailed drawers. They kind of remind me of something I might see in restoration hardware. What do you think? If you enjoyed this transformation, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for a new video every Sunday. I have some exciting content coming up and would love for you to join me. See you next Sunday.